Reading with your kids.
Hola, ni hao, konnichiwa, assalamu alaikum, shalom, jambo, bienvenidos. Hi, my name is Jed Lee, and this is the Reading with Your Kids podcast, coming to you from the beautiful neighborhood of Reedville and the southwest corner of Boston, Massachusetts. We are so delighted that you're part of our beautiful Reading with Your Kids family. Please be sure to subscribe to the show on the iHeartRadio app, on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Himalaya, Stitcher Radio, or wherever you find your podcast. Our guest today is Katie Melko. She's telling us about Roxie's adventure to the hair salon. Before Katie comes in to tell us about Roxie's adventure, I want to invite you to join me on an adventure back to Chicago. That's right, the Reading with the Kids podcast is returning to Chicago to be part of the Kids Expo, February 8th and 9th, 2020 at the Schaumburg Convention Center in Schaumburg, Illinois. This is going to be a wonderful time. We're really excited. There's going to be all sorts of fantastic activities for families, for kids. It's going to be great. We are going to be presenting Jed Lee's Totally Interactive Magic Circus on Saturday and Sunday. And at the Reading with Your Kids booth, we're going to be giving families a chance to find out what it's like to be part of the Reading with Your Kids podcast. It's really, really wonderful. We met a whole lot of great families at the Chicago Toy and Game Fair, and we would love to meet you at Kids Expo, February 8th and 9th, Schaumburg Convention Center, Schaumburg, Illinois. Joining us on the line right now from the beautiful New Haven area of Connecticut. I was just down there. What a lovely part of the world. She is returning to the podcast. She is the author of a great new book called PAW Elementary, Roxie's Adventure to the Hair Salon. Please welcome back Katie Melko. Katie, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am fantastic. I am really looking forward to talking to you about Roxie's Adventure to the Hair Salon. Brings back so many memories. It brings back a memory that I used to have hair, and it's really hard. But but I do remember when my kids were young and going either to the barber or to the hair salon was kind of scary for them.
Yeah, it can be very traumatic. And again, it's something that's very close, like to their head and neck. Mm-hmm. So it's something that they can't really see what's going on. And it creates a lot of fear for children.
Yeah, it really does. I remember my son really vividly when he was his first visit. It was really great. There's a Vietnamese barber in our neighborhood. His name was Tran, and he cut my hair. So we brought my son down to him, and Tran was a great guy who's really patient. They had a very heavy accent. My son was he wasn't necessarily scared, but he was anxious and he kept on moving around. And I remember my friend Tron trying to say, you need to stop, settle down. And at one point with his accent, it just popped out, stop moving, I cut your ear.
Yeah, well, that's funny. It's one of the things in the book that happens. One of the kids gets a little cut.
Oh, yes. So what inspired you to write this book? Did you have your own Tron incident?
No, my mom cut my hair when we were kids, so never went to the hairdresser till I was much older. Uh-huh. But my husband, he came home one day from getting his hair cut, and he was like, I'm sitting there thinking about you and your series, and as I was getting my hair cut, I was like, this is pretty traumatic. There was like a little boy, I guess, in the salon at the same time who was having a difficult time, getting through his hair appointment. So he was like, you should write a book about getting your hair done. So I was like, all right. And that's basically how that was born. So
what a great husband. I love that. Thinking about you and your project and coming up with inspiration for you as he was going about his day.
Yeah. So I was like, all right, I'm going to write it. And like within a few days I had it written. He was like, you're crazy. You're crazy. So I have a couple of other books written and I was planning on releasing a different one, but I felt like this was a great second book to come out because it is still very true to the series, as it's a fearful experience for the first time that kids can go through, but it is outside of the medical world. So it has a broader audience, and I feel like a lot of kids go through that nowadays. So it ended up being a really great project that I got into.
That's fantastic. Now, remind everybody, PAW Elementary, the first book in the series, we followed Roxie to the dentist. Am I right?
That's right. We did.
Yeah. I just came back from my dentist. He's retiring. I've had I have the same dentist for like 20-something years, and he was my mom's dentist for about 10 years before that. So he deserves his retirement, but I'm like, yeah, okay, now I have to get used to it.
What are you going to do, right?
I know. And they have I haven't met her yet. They have someone taking over the practice, but it's just, it's not this, it's just it's such an intimate thing.
Right. Like that's part of why I wrote the original book. You're so close to a very private area that's very vulnerable in your body, and you pretty much are putting all of your trust in this person doing something that, again, you can't see. So when you have that loyalty and that trust relationship with somebody for so many years, I'm sure having to let go of that relationship is going to be tough.
Yeah, but I think if I have trouble with it, I'll pick up the first book in the PAW series, and I think I'll be able to relate to it.
Let me know how that goes.
Well, I'm curious, what kind of reaction are you getting from families who are reading the PAW Elementary series? Are they telling you that it's really helping their kids deal with these situations?
So a little bit of both. I've had a lot of people review the book, and between my beta readers and people who've actually purchased it, and Kindle book online reviews on Amazon and so forth. Either people are saying, man, I wish this book existed when I took my kid for their first appointment, or they're saying, like, my kid loves this book and wants to read it all the time, are in love with, just the characters. And we came out with a companion stuffed animal of Roxie. So I've actually had families send me pictures of them holding her while they're either at the dentist or at the hair salon, which is really cool. So
yeah, that's neat. And I imagine too that as families are waiting for you to come up with other editions of the series, that they can probably relate a lot of the lessons that they learned in the first two PAW books to other situations.
Yeah, so all of the books are show do tell. So they walk the character through the appointment. They show them everything they should experience, and then the book explains what all of those items are. And then shows how Roxie basically came through the experience saying, wow, that wasn't so bad and I'm okay. But besides that actual experience, it just, like, a lot of the message from my books is how to communicate and express your emotions in a healthy way. Talk to your friends, talk to your teacher, talk to your parents, and use them as a healthy outlet to express how you're feeling. So I do feel like that piece is definitely things that kids and families can get from the book outside of whether they are dealing with an issue directly related to the dentist or their first haircut.
Now, as I recall, you had a career as a dental hygienist before you started writing children's books. What was it in your background that has inspired you to write these books that are talking about emotions and fears and helping kids find courage?
So it all kind of came together for me when I got my master's degree. I literally fell in love with writing in that program. And so when I finished it, I kind of felt like I lost a piece of myself because I no longer had something that I had to do every night as far as like homework or studying. So I wanted to still be able to use that creative piece of me that I love so much and was missing, because it ended up being pretty therapeutic for me to write and spend that time, in my own space and in my own head. So I decided to write about going to the school dentist for the first time because I actually had a very traumatic experience when I was a little girl. And all of my dental hygiene work is in public health, primarily with children coming to the school by themselves. So I kind of used 10 years of experience and my new master's degree and my like need for wanting to creatively write to basically fuel my passion for this project.
That's wonderful. I know so many people that finish a master's program or any kind of educational program where there's a lot of writing involved, and their reaction is, thank goodness I don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah, if you had asked me, 10 years ago if I would ever be here, I would have been like, you're nuts. No, I don't, I didn't enjoy it then. And I felt like I probably just wasn't writing about something that I was passionate about. Mm-hmm. And of course my skill set in creative writing was not there. So everything, happens for a reason and comes together at a certain time.
Now, one of the things you were sharing with me right before we started recording is that you have a new activity book that's available.
Yes, it just launched on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a coloring book and activity book. And it has activities and coloring sheets from the first 2 books. And then it has 2 teaser illustrations for the 3rd book that's coming out next year.
Ooh, a teaser illustration. So what, can you tease us a little bit here?
Yes, so it's about Roxie learning how to swim for the first time.
Now this is something I can relate to as one of the jobs that I had when I was trying to figure out how to make a living as an educational magician. Now, and that took a few years. Was as a lifeguard, and it was a very unique pool that I worked at. It was in a mental health facility, so we had and it was open to the public certain times. So we had a number of community groups would come in. We had a group of kids that I fell in love with who had severe developmental disabilities. And we also had patients in the building, and we also had a number of elderly groups. And one of the things that I recall was how difficult it was for some of the elderly women who came in who had never learned how to swim, and now they were in their 70s and 80s, and they decided it was time for them to swim. And just putting their face in the water was so terrifying for them.
Yeah.
And it's something I couldn't relate to it, and I know I wasn't I look back and I know there are times that I wasn't as good of a teacher or as a lifeguard as I should have been, because I didn't relate to that. I love being in the water today. I can spend hours at a time in the water with my head underneath the water and come out with my face out. Well, my face is all wrinkly anyways because I'm ancient, but with the eyes red and just kind of waterlogged. And and I can imagine for some kids that whole thing of going to the pool for the first time, it can be terrifying.
Yeah, and I think it's a terrifying thing for parents too, because so many children drowned each year. Mm-hmm. So I feel like it's a very important book to get out there for both family and children, to help teach a child how important it is to be safe and always swim with, a parent around and all that kind of stuff. And, how to get through those emotions of being scared of swimming for the first time.
Now, I know it makes total sense how, Roxie visiting the dentist came up as your first book based on your experience. And I love the inspiration for the current book at the hair salon came from your husband. Yep. But I'm wondering, do you and your husband sit down and just write out a list of terrifying experiences that you're going to be writing about?
So it's funny because, I'll be in my head for a while and then I'll be like, all right, I need to talk about some things, And so usually these conversations happen in the car when we're on our way somewhere. That's where we get a lot of our big important conversations out. But I said to him, I have a book written about nutrition and losing their first tooth. And I have a book written about going to a doctor for a medical visit for the first time. But I just don't know that they're at that point where it's the right time to release them. And I felt like I want to make a box set of the first 3 books, and I wanted them to all be a little different and all hitting home in a certain way. Mm-hmm. And my niece just turned 2, and we were sitting there talking, and I was like, what is going on that I could write about that will be helpful, that will really make an impact on a family's life or a child's life. And we were sitting there going through all these things, and out of this came a bunch of ideas, but swimming was the one that stuck out to me the most. Mm-hmm. And I think part of it is because my niece Charlie's going to be learning how to swim soon. Mm-hmm. But he is an amazing soundboard, and he's always giving me his honest opinion about everything I do. So it really is an awesome, relationship that we have, and his, always believing in me and supporting me has definitely helped me be more creative and be more willing to step out of that comfort zone.
That's really wonderful. And, at the end of every episode of the podcast, I thank my beautiful wife for all of the support that she gives me. And it's wonderful for a writer to have that support. I mean, it's essential, because writing can be such a solitary thing. And we're, like you said, you're in your head, you're kind of by yourself, you're at the laptop by yourself. And it can be very challenging, but to have that support in your life, it's such a wonderful thing. And I imagine that the reverse is true. It must be wonderful for your husband to be able to provide that support.
Yeah, absolutely. Cause he always is very mathematical, strategical kind of a guy. And I'm more the creative, let's just wing it and see how it goes. And he's like, no, let's have a plan, so we balance each other out really well. And some of the things, we talk about, and he's like, I got nothing for you. You're going to have to, ask somebody else or whatever. But most of the time, we're able to work through whatever I'm trying to do. But, it's so much more than writing a book, as you know, mm-hmm. Creating your own business, branding, marketing, your investments, all of those things. So it's really nice to have a partnership in our marriage and in my business together.
And I think it's great too, that kind of, not so much opposites attract, but just differences, and being able to look at problems and challenges from different perspectives. And, you both have your own unique talents, and bringing them together, I think, can, really, really help in a fantastic way.
Yeah, he really is. When I told him I wanted to do this, he very rarely says no. He keeps saying no. So I was like, I want to try writing a book and doing all this. And he was like, that's a big thing to want to try. Mm-hmm. But he was like, if that's what you want to do, all right, look into it. Do you even know how? So he just kind of jumped right on board, and we've been in this journey now for a little over a year. And it's just amazing how it's both allowed us to grow together as a couple and individually. So it's been a really great experience, along with struggles, just like anything else, but very blessed for sure.
Well, one of the reasons I wanted to talk to you about that is that I see you working your career and your business. It's very visible what I see you're doing in the author community and out there, getting your book out there, and it's really wonderful. It does take work. We mm-hmm. talk about it here on the show a lot, that, finishing that book, you turn it in and you think your job is over, but you discover that, it's time for me to put on the marketing hat, and it's time for me to put on this hat and that hat. And so having a partner, whether it's a spouse or a good friend or another friend in the business, is so really, really very important. What other things have you learned as the head of the PAW Elementary Inc. business that you would share with other authors who are either aspiring or feel like they've been spinning their wheels for years?
So I just actually launched 3 courses that I'm offering now to help people who are just starting out, learn from my mistakes and more streamline their process. So whether it's your motivational mindset, I had to completely change my mindset in a lot of things, because if you're being completely honest, everything that we put on social media is all the good stuff mostly. We want everyone seeing us happy and productive and amazing. And a lot of people don't show the struggle and the frustration and the doubt and, like getting inside your head and wondering if you made a good decision. And so, taking a step back and balancing your time that you spend on your business and that you spend in your home, quality time, is really important. Like, I've had to really learn balance. As supportive as my husband can be, like, sometimes he just wants to be with me and not me being on my phone, answering an email, checking or posting or, deciding what I'm going to be doing. So balance, because you will burn yourself out if you don't. And at the end of the day, if you don't answer that email today, they'll still be there tomorrow. I've had to strategically plan out my week on what I'm going to be working on and when I'm going to put my phone down and not be on it. And that helps keep my marriage good. It helps keep my business good and helps keep my mind good. And then, join a Facebook group or 2 or 3, find a tribe of people who want to be supportive. And don't give up. Keep pushing, because most likely you're right around the corner from being where you want to be. And it just seems like a very tedious hill that you're going up right at the moment. Yeah. So don't give up. Spend time on yourself.
One of the things that I wanted to ask you about is, we talked about the PAW Elementary books, but you also write romance novels.
Yeah, I debuted it, or that book debuted the same day that my hair salon book did, actually, which was just coincidental. So I'm very excited. It's my first romance. It's a romance suspense. It's called Bottle of Uncertainty. And that is a piece that I'm very passionate and attached to. That book was a lot of my, like a lot of things that were personal about me or in my family that I've gone through, that I really feel like it's not just like a sappy romance novel, that has a happy ending. It's a real relatable story that has a woman who's had a rough past, who overcomes all of those things, realizes the importance of loving herself again, how to be loved, and still like not give up on her passion for her career. And so like a lot of important things that I value, and I always am preaching, like, don't give up, keep pushing, like, you are important, your messages matter. So I really enjoyed writing that book, and I'm working on its sequel as we speak.
Excellent. Well, one of the things I'm not a fan of romance novels, but one of the things that I love is that there's one place online where you can go to learn all about PAW Elementary and your romance novels and your courses. Tell us about it.
Yep. So I have a website called 12pawspub.com. 12 is in the number. And it tells you, a little bit about myself, my courses. You can get a little synopsis of the romance novel, the PAW Elementary series. I do discovery calls if people ever need just a sounding board that are completely free. I just started a YouTube channel. So I'm really trying to, put myself out there, and it's terrifying, but here we are. We're all on that ride, right?
That's right. We're real excited. We're real excited that we're on that ride with you. And we want to encourage everybody to check out PAW Elementary, Roxie's Adventure to the Hair Salon by our guest, Katie Melko. Katie, thanks so very much for being part of our show again.
Yes, thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Please be sure to join us for the next edition of the Reading with Your Kids podcast. Our guest will be Heather Winona Ellis. She'll be telling us about her fantastic middle grade novel, Guardian of the Dream Tree. She'll also be giving us great resources to help kids stand up to their bad dreams. That's the next episode of the Reading with Your Kids podcast. If you are the author of a fantastic book and are frustrated because there are so many other books out there and it's hard to get your book noticed, well, we would love to help you out. We have developed a wonderful program that has helped so many authors. It's called the Reading with Your Kids Certified Great Read Program. We have a panel of teachers, parents, and kids. And if they believe that your book is worthy of 4 or 5 out of 5 stars, it becomes a Reading with Your Kids certified great read. And like I said, this has helped so many authors. It's also helped a lot of families. It helps a lot of families know that your book is worthy of their consideration. You know, space on a family in a family library is limited. Families want to know that the books that they're investing in, investing their time, investing their money, it's worth it. And the Reading with Your Kids podcast, Certified Great Read, it helps families know that your book is worth their time and worth their investment. When your book becomes a certified great read, you get all sorts of great tools to help your book stand out amongst the crowd of books that are published every single month. You can get some more information by going to our website, readingwithyourkids.com. Click on the Author Services button at the top of the page, and you'll find all about this fantastic program. I want to thank the folks who made today's show so very wonderful. Of course, we want to thank Katie Melko. Please be sure to check out her PAW Elementary series, especially her new book, Roxie's Adventure to the Hair Salon. I want to thank my amazing producer, Fatima Khan. Be sure to check out her blog at readingwithyourkids.com. I want to thank my beautiful wife for all the support that she gives me, and I want to thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today, and as always, thank you so much for taking the time to make the world a better place by reading with your kids. I'll be looking for you in the next edition of the Reading with Your Kids podcast.